Steve Ontiveros, who's now becoming a healthy Ontiveros after leaving Scottsdale, is our guest. Steve, are you 100% healthy right now?
Pretty much right now, Lou. I haven't had any spats in the back or any problem with my side for a couple of days now. I played the day before yesterday, and everything felt really good. Swinging the bat and moving around at third base. So I'm about 98% right now. I can still feel just a little bit. And I'm sure within a couple of days or so it'll all be gone. I'll be back to 100%.
What about today? It's damp. It looks like it's going to rain. It's overcast. This is not the perfect day to play for when you have a hamstring pull.
For any kind of muscle injury, it's not an ideal day to play. But I usually get heat treatment in the morning. That loosens it up quite a bit. And just before the game, Tony puts a little bit of heat and capsuline on it, and that keeps it warm pretty much through the entire game.
What do you do between innings when you're not at bat or active? This also could tie it up.
Well, I don't sit down. I try and stretch, go down the runway and stretch, and keep it pretty loose so that it doesn't have a chance to tighten up on me, because once it tightens up, then I have problems getting it loose again. So I try to stand up and keep walking around and just stretching more than anything in between innings.
Steve, it's quite cold for spectators and also for us in the radio and television booth to be watching, and our muscles do not respond too quickly. And of course, I know that's due to age. Don't be smiling right now. But you, as a ball player, your reactions sometimes in this cold weather, they're slowed down, aren't they?
Sure they are. They tend to be slowed down just a little bit, especially on balls that hit right at you and hard. It's you have your hands beginning to get a little bit numb, so do your feet, and sometimes you just the feet don't want to go where the mind wants them to. So it's the reactions are slowed just a little bit by the cold weather, especially at the plate. Also, your guy comes inside on you a little bit, and it's harder to get your bat around on him a little bit. You are just a little bit slowed down by the cold weather.
I noticed in my playing days back a few years ago, and with this kind of weather, my mind would say swing, but my hands wouldn't move.
More times than not, especially when you got a guy that's throwing pretty hard, and a day like today, he comes inside on you, and you want to swing, but the hands just won't move. And even sometimes when you do swing late, you get jammed, and that's pretty painful too. But it's not really an ideal day to play in this kind of weather.
Have you been thinking about the opponent who they're pitching against us today, Steve Rogers, as to how he works against you and what is his best pitch?
Well, he pretty much works everybody the same way. He's a sinker ball pitcher, but he throws hard, harder than most of the sinker ball pitchers. He goes away with his sinker and tries to get it down and away, and then he'll come in with a slider, and that's about the way he'll work you. Not necessarily in and out. If he does come with the slider, it's usually inside, but more times than not, he's going to be going away with the sinker ball.
Steve, defensively, I've compared you with Brooks Robinson and Ken Keltner, Kenny Reitz of the Cardinals. Great individuals who can really come in and play the bunt perfectly and play that swinging bunt perfectly. You must have worked on this considerably in your career as a third baseman.
I have. That's probably one of the tougher plays in at any position. Somewhere where you have to come in and make an off-balance throw. You have to usually barehand the ball more times than not, and it's tough to get a good throw off. And that's what I really can say, that I've just worked at it and just worked continuously to make that play and to learn how to make that play. And through the work, it's really come to me kind of natural now.
On a swinging bunt, you have to stay put, stationary, because you don't know whether it's going to be a swinging bunt or whether it's coming off of that bat hard directly at you.
More times than not, it's a do-or-die play, because you lose a step and a half on the swinging bunt at least, because you can't be breaking right away. When the guy takes a hard swing, the first thing you do is you're kind of on your toes looking for which way you're going to go, left or right, and then going in is probably the last place you have on your mind. And so you lose about a step and a half. The runner has about a step and a half on you, and like I say, more times than not, it's a do-or-die play. You come in, you barehand the ball, you try to get the best possible throw to first base off that you can.
Steve, as a third baseman and a powerfully built right-handed hitter, a bat, a pull hitter, do you like to know what is being thrown to that hitter? Do you have word signs with your shortstop?
Yes, I do. We have a word sign. Yvonne and I have a sign that he always lets me know when a breaking ball or anything inside is coming. Any pitch that can be pulled down at me, I'm always aware of what's going to come out. And it helps because you got an idea that, hey, the ball's going to come at you pretty hard right now, so really, be prepared now, be ready. And it's not a guessing game, so it makes things quite a bit easier to play. Makes it quite a bit easier to play down at third base.
Your throws have been very accurate. Where do you try to hit the second baseman on a double play?
I try to put it right on top of the bag with Vinatage. I know if I can get him a pretty good throw over there where he doesn't have to reach one way, left or right too far, then he's going to turn to double play. He's got exceptionally quick hands and a strong arm. So as long as I can get a pretty decent throw that's up where he can handle it, it's going to be a double play.
When we say with a man on third, the infield is halfway, when you're halfway, what goes through your mind?
Mostly halfway is just to knock the ball down, try and keep it from going through the infield to cut off the run. And that's probably all you can do. Even say if you got to dive for a ball 3-4 feet away, as long as you can knock it down and keep it within 5 or 6 feet of you, you always have a chance at the man at home plate. And that's primarily what playing halfway is all about.
Now, with a man on second and a single to left, you become the cutoff man, that you line up the throw to the plate. How do you know when to cut the ball off or to let it go through?
Well, you've got pretty much the play's pretty much in front of you. If you've lined up properly, and after a while, after you played the position quite a while, you get an idea of where to line up, where home plate is at, and it just you can see the play evolving right in front of you. You know whether to cut the ball or not. If the guy is already rounded third base, you haven't got much of a shot at home. You know you got to cut it and keep the guy from going to second. And not only that, use your own judgment, but the catcher is going to be there to help you too. He's going to yell cut or let it go or whatever, to second base or whatever. So it's pretty much your decision, but you're always going to have the help from the catcher also.
Steve, many thanks for talking to us today, and good luck to you.
Okay, thank you, Lou.
Steve Monteveros was our guest. Nobody should be without good auto insurance, and nobody has.
The Chicago Radio Home of Millions throughout mid-America. The time is 1:25.
Wow! Let's go! Battle up! We're taking the afternoon off. It's a beautiful day for a ball game today. The fans are out to get a ticket or two. From Mala, Washington to Kalamazoo. It's a beautiful day for a home run. Or even a triple motion. We're gonna cheer and boo and raise a hullabaloo at the ball game today.
The Chicago Cubs are on the air. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome once again to Major League Baseball from beautiful Wrigley Field, where the sun has been shining the last half hour or so. And it looks like the weatherman is finally going to cooperate after giving us a very nervous few hours this morning. The Montreal Expos, in their first meeting with the Cubs this year, in town with a record of 4 wins, 4 losses. And the Cubs now, with 5 wins against 4 defeats, today find themselves a half game behind the Eastern Division leading Philadelphia Phillies, along with the New York Mets, but the Cubs in second place in percentage points. Philadelphia winner last night over the Pittsburgh Pirates by a score of 6-2, and that was the same result in the Mets' victory over the St. Louis Cardinals. Steve Rogers, a right-hander who went without a victory in 2 decisions last year against the Cubs, comes in this afternoon with a record of 1-1. Pitched well in his first outing and was a little shaky in the second when he got knocked off. Ray Burris with 2 fine outings so far for the Cubs. 1 victory, no defeats. I'll have the starting lineups for you in a little bit. Vince Lloyd and Lou Boudreau here with you. And if you are within an hour or so of the ballpark, why don't you plan to come out here? You'll see a lot of action this afternoon as these 2 Eastern Division rivals go at it today. Our broadcast is brought to you by carrying Herman Frank's lineup card meeting. And they'll go over the ground rules and the official lineups, of course. Our broadcast is authorized under rights granted by the Chicago National League Ball Club, which has the right of approval of the announcers for this event. It is solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the descriptions and accounts of the game without the express written consent of the Chicago National League Ball Club is prohibited. Ray Burris has just finished his warming up down the left field line with Larry Cox doing the receiving for him, and the tall, lanky right-hander Steve Rogers heating up down the right field line in the Montreal bullpen. For Montreal, the lineup today will have Warren Cromartie, C-R-O-M-A-R-T-I-E, one of the outstanding rookies in the league last year, playing in left field and leading off. Davey Cash, the veteran, at second base. Andre Dawson in center field, hitting third, and he's powered a couple of homers this year. And is 4 for 4 in his last 4 official trips to the plate. Gary Carter hitting in the cleanup position this afternoon, big catcher. Tony Perez, off to a slow start at the plate. will be at first base. Former Cincinnati Red Star batting fifth, with Tony Parrish at third, and he has been swinging a real hot bat. Parrish batting sixth. Del Unser in right field. Ellis Valentine, who normally would be in that outfield, sprained a right knee just a couple of days ago, and he is not on the disabled list, but Valentine unable to play, so the veteran Del Unser out there. And shortstop Chris Spire, used to be with the San Francisco Giants. They got him last June from the Giants. Will be at shortstop hitting eighth. And following Spire, the pitcher Steve Rogers. Before we give you the Cub lineup, let's pause a moment here for station identification. This is the WGN Chicago.
WGN Radio,
Baseball.
Chicago.
For the Cubs, Ivan De Jesus to lead off at shortstop, and he starts the afternoon hitting .385. Greg Gross will be in center field. Gross hitting second. Larry Bittner at first base. Buckner still out with a sore ankle. Bobby Mercer in right field hitting cleanup, with Dave Kingman back in the lineup this afternoon. Dave in left field hitting fifth. Steve Ontiveros at third base. Ontiveros batting sixth. Manny Trio at second base, hitting in the number 7 slot. Dave Rader, the catcher. He's hitting eighth. And Ray Burris, the pitcher. A record of 1-0 for the Cubs so far this year. There'll be quite a schedule in the National League tonight, a heavy one. Everybody except the Cubs and Montreal slated to play under the lights, but a very heavy daytime schedule over in the American League. White Sox over at Detroit, trying to recover from the horrendous finish to that game they had against the Tigers yesterday afternoon. They've had a little rain delay in Detroit after a couple of innings this afternoon. Steve Stone against Slayton in that one. And only one game scheduled under the arcs in the junior circuit, and that'll take place between California and Seattle tonight. These two clubs, Montreal and the Cubs last year, battled pretty closely against one another. Here at Wrigley Field, as a matter of fact, Montreal had the edge. They beat the Cubs 5 out of 9 here in Chicago, but the Cubs turned around and won the series up there. And as a matter of fact, the Cubs wound up beating them 10 out of 18 times last year. Ray Burris, you mentioned 1-0 for this season. Last year split 4 decisions with the Montreal Expos. And in his career with the Cubs, Ray has a slight edge over him. He's beaten them 9 times and lost to them on 7 occasions. Ray last season wound up a record of 14-15 for the Cubs. And here at Wrigley Field, he won 7 and lost 6 in the 77 campaign. Season before, of course, he was 15-13. And that year, he was 15-10 at this ballpark. Had a better record here at Wrigley Field, which is supposed to be so tough for pitchers, and he had on the road. Cromartie had an awfully good go of it last year against the Chicago Cubs, and I mention it because he comes into this action today still looking for his first hit of the season. Of course, he has been held out of action through much of their first 8 games because of a slight injury to the leg, but he's been at bat 17 times, and the little guy is still looking for his first hit. Well, we recall one instance last year when he had an awfully good day against the Cubs. Many of you may remember it because it occurred in July the 4th, first game of a doubleheader between these two teams out here, and the Expos walloped the Cubs. They scored 19 runs, and little Cromartie led the way. He was 5 for 5 in that ball game, including a couple of doubles. So the Cubs have good reason to remember Warren Cromartie. Burris warming up with catcher Dave Rader, and before little Warren Cromartie steps into the batter's box for the first pitch, let's take a moment for this message.
Welcome home again.
As I mentioned, 0 for 17 so far this year. He's apt to explode at any time. Takes a pretty wide stance against Ray Burris. Here's the windup of the first pitch. Cromartie swings, and it drives to left field. Kingman back into his left, way back, and it's off the wall. Caroms past him, picked up in left center field by Gross, and Cromartie whacking the first pitch over Kingman's head against the vines in left field. His first hit of the year, a double. So the Expos have a runner in scoring position on the very first pitch of the afternoon. Davy Cash, the veteran, hitting .353, 1 homer and 3 runs, batted in this year. Signed him when he became a free agent. His second year with the Expos. Cromartie, good speed. Burris checks him. Delivers sidearm fastball. Misses inside at the belt to Cash. 1-0. Andre Dawson in the on-deck circle. Burris in the stretch. Another fastball. He tried to go to right side with it, and he did, but he fouled it over near the Montreal dugout behind first base. Count of 1-1 on Davy Cash. Will do his darndest to get that runner over to third base. Throws straight away for Cash. His stance, an exaggerated close one. That front foot, the left one up front, near the plate. Here's the pitch to him. Missed inside above the knees. Ball 2, strike 1. The air has been clearing here at Wrigley Field. Coaching down at third base for him today is their pitching coach, Norm Sherry. Here's the pitch, and it's high and tight. He had to spin back out of the batter's box. Ball 3, strike 1. In his first 2 starts, Ray this year has worked 16 innings and allowed only 6 hits. Struck out 4, walked 7. His earned run average coming into this one, a glittering 1.68. 3-1 delivery to Cash. Takes ball 4 inside above the knees, another fastball. So Montreal, with nobody out, puts runners at first and second. And it brings up Andre Dawson, the center fielder, who comes in here with a hot streak, 4 for 4, including a double and a couple of homers. Boosted his batting average to .250. Big young right-hander. Now with 2 homers and 6 runs batted in for the season. So Burris and the Cubs in a bit of a jam in the top of the first inning with nobody out. A double on the first pitch and a walk. Here's the delivery. Dawson takes, and it misses down around the knees inside. Ball 1. Montreal won 2 of its first 3 games at home this year. They opened up against the Mets in New York and had a lot of trouble with them. And they are 2-3 on the road. Rader had gone out to talk to Burris. Now the big right-hander is ready. Hands at the belt, kicks, delivers. Dawson swings, and he fouls that one back up onto the screen behind the plate as Ray came up, ran the letters to him with that one. And the Andrew Crane ushering chief, Rick Ferrari, got hit with that foul ball, and Tony Garofalo, the Cub trainer, running over to check him. Struck it, cut him right alongside the ear. Left side. It's a dangerous spot for him to have to sit, but that's the first time I've seen Rick get hit with a foul ball. He is just to the right of the screen. The bag of extra baseballs there, and the big fellow with a Turkish towel over the left ear is going to be tended to by the Cub trainer, Tony Garofalo, is walking him down the left line now, left field line. He'll go into the clubhouse. That's the first time I ever remember him or even Pat Piper, when Pat used to sit there, Lou, being hit that sharply by a foul ball.
I don't think I've ever seen that happen.
To come off the bat, maybe he just lost sight of it momentarily. We hope there's no serious injury. Meanwhile, Andy Olson, the veteran working behind the plate today, uses the whisk broom on it. They put a lot of sand around home plate and around behind second base, behind third, and a lot of it on the pitcher's mound. Jim Quick umpiring at first. Shag Crawford, that was his dad, working at second. And Doug Harvey, the chief of this crew, over at third. And there's a ball that misses away. Ball 2, strike 1. A shaky start for Ray. Big fella into the stretch. Nobody out. Runners at first and second. Long look at second now. The pitch swung on. Ground ball to DeJesus. Could be 2. Over to second for 1. The relay. They get the double play. DeJesus having to come over to his right several steps for that ball. And over at third base is Warren Cromartie. But there are 2 gone. And Gary Carter will be the batter. A timely double play could get him out of the jam. But he needs one more out to really escape. Carter, the catcher, hitting .250 so far this year. He has 2 homers, 6 runs batted in. There's a swing and a deep drive. Kingman back. He should have room. He's on the warning track. He misjudged that ball. He leaped at the last moment. It hit at the base of the wall, and a run will score. The ball seeming to stick in those vines, it's going to be ruled a ground rule double. He just has trouble picking up the flight of that ball sometimes, doesn't he?
Well, I really don't know whether he had trouble picking that one up or not, but he still didn't go back to the wall properly as an outfielder should. He shouldn't have any trouble today. It's overcast, the sun trying to break through. No one is sitting in the upper decks, and not too many people in the lower deck.
At the last moment, big fella, he was going back, kind of running sideways. He just didn't turn and go to the base of the wall. It's hit harder than he thought it was, obviously. And he leaped as high as he could at the last moment in a frantic but futile effort to knock it down. That's ruled another double, and the Montreal Expos are on the board 1-0. Here's Tony Perez. The veteran takes the ball low and inside. No credit Carter with his 7th run batted into the year. Perez with a run batted in. So far this season, swings on that one and fouls it back out of play. 1-1 on him. Tony with 5 hits in his first 30 trips to the plate this season. Deep in the batter's box. Right-hander, of course. Long look at second. Burris's delivery. Missed a little bit low. Ball 2, strike 1 on Tony Perez. Larry Parrish, a very hot hitter in the on-deck circle. Burris is ready again. 2 gone. Runner at second. 2-1 delivery. Swung on, and he lifts a high foul down the right field side. The wind pushing it back towards playing area. Bittner having trouble as that ball finally wound up out of his reach just by the bench where the Montreal bullpen crew sits. They had to scramble to get out of the way of Larry. Wind is pretty much blowing out towards left field right at the moment. Maybe coming in now from the right field corner. And that flagpole down the right field foul line has the Canadian flag. They'll count at 2-2, and the hitter with 2 out, a runner at second base, 1-0, top of the first inning, and the pitch. Swung on, ground ball to Olivares at third. Long throw to Bittner, retires Perez and the Montreal Expos. Defensively, a shaky first inning for the Cubs. Montreal on the board with a run on 2 hits, a walk, 1 man left on the bases. And the Cubs come to bat after a half inning of play against Steve Rogers, trailing 1-0.
The gallows and the hose. We make car buying a pleasure again.
I'll handle this, Carol. It's our first new car, and this salesman is going to come at us like a ton of bricks.
But the sign says we make car buying a pleasure again.
I don't care what the sign says.
Hi, can I help you?
See, Carol? Patronizing.
We're interested in the Cutlass.
I don't blame you.
Pressuring us already.
Can we look around for a while? I'm not sure about color or equipment.
Listen, just take your time. If you have any questions or you want some help, I'll be right here.
Now he's ignoring us, Carol.
Jack, that salesman is a pleasure to deal with.
Well, he won't be here when we need him. Watch.
Yes, sir?
Nice place you have here.
Visit your Chicagoland Oldsmobile dealer today. Find out how we can make car buying a pleasure for you.
The gallows and the hose. We make car buying a pleasure again. The gallows and the hose. We make car buying a pleasure again. The gallows and the hose. We
Ivan DeJesus to lead off against the veteran Steve Rogers. He is hopeful that he'll be able to get a renegotiated contract with the Montreal Expos, although he says the fact that he's making an estimated $75,000 a year, which is considerably below the figures reportedly given to Ross Grimsley and Rudy May, the two newcomer left-handers to the ball club. He said, that doesn't bother me. He says, I have a hunch we'll be able to reach a negotiated settlement for a longer-term contract. He would like to stay with the Montreal Expos. Native of Missouri, born down near St. Louis, but he now makes his home in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. Making his third start of this young season, given up 6 earned runs in 11 and a third innings, suffered a loss, and has gained a victory. Normally, he keeps his pitches down. DeJesus, hitting .385 for this young season, steps in. He's driven in 4 runs. First pitch is a fastball up too high, ball 1. Rogers is kind of a nervous, fidgety type. Here's the pitch. Comes over the top of the fastball. It's taken for a strike at the belt. Ball 1, strike 1. Cookie Rojas and Joe Malfitano in the base paths for the Cubs at first and third. Dawson way over into left center field for DeJesus. Right fielder Unser very shallow. 1-1 delivery. Swung on and missed. Looked right over the top of that ball. It was moving away from him down around his knees, and Ivan steps out of the batter's box for a moment. 1-2 count. Greg Gross in the on-deck circle. And Larry Bittner to hit third. Rogers gets a sign, nods his head. Right-hander's pitch. Strike 3 called. He got him looking at a curveball, and Ivan spins out of the batter's box in a hurry. Well, Rogers had only 2 strikeouts in his first 2 outings this year. He's opened up this ball game with 1. And now faces the left-handed hitting center fielder Greg Gross. Greg hitting .316 so far this year. 6 hits, all singles, 4 runs batted in. First pitch. Fastball is high and away. Ball 1. Larry Parrish this year sporting a beard. He's even to the bag at third, about 3 feet off the line. Then Gross to swing late on 1. There's a strike call. Ball 1, strike 1. Chris Spire at shortstop. Davy Cash at second. 2 good veterans. Another one over at first base, Tony Perez. Here's the delivery. Swung on, a bouncing ball to the mound. Gloved out there by Rogers. Leaped about a foot in the air for it. And Gross is retired easily. Pitcher to the first baseman brings up Larry Bittner. Hitting at a .350 clip for the Cubs with 7 hits in his first 20 at-bats. 1 double, 1 triple, 1 homer. 4 singles with 4 runs batted in for Bittner. Bobby Mercer has moved into the on-deck circle. Sun trying to burn through the clouds. Wind up in the first pitch. Swung on, a sinking fastball. He rolls it out to Davy Cash, and that's a very easy first inning for Steve Rogers and the Montreal Expos. 3 up and 3 down. At the end of 1 full inning of play, Montreal coming to bat, and the Expos have a 1-0 lead. Larry Parrish to lead off. Bearded third baseman, hit safely in 7 straight games now. And in those 7 ball games, this right-hander has 10 hits and 24 trips. That's a .417 clip. That's what he's hitting for the year, with 8 runs batted in. Kingman very deep for him in left field. Dave Shaky out there in the first inning, and it cost the Cubs a run. Meanwhile, in the American League, Baltimore and the Yankees at the end of 2 are tied, 1-1. Martinez going in that one against Guidry. And the first pitch of the ball to Parrish. Gross shading him over into left center field. Wind up by Burris. And And there's a strike called away from him at the knees, and he shakes his head in disbelief at the call by Andy Olson. His stance straight away and very, very wide. Looks like he's ready to do the splits in there. Here's the pitch. Takes it inside above the knees. 2-1 now. Kingman, Gross, and Mercer in the outfield. Burris delivers 2-1 pitch. Lets up on it, a half swing. He rolls it out to DeJesus at shortstop. Picks it up in an easy play. Good change. Tried to hold up on him, but he was already committed. Dell Unser replacing Valentine in the outfield. Valentine out with a strained right knee. This left-handed hitting veteran who comes initially from Decatur, Illinois, steps in with a 3.04 mark for this season. A run batted in for him. His stance slightly closed. Here's the pitch. Takes a good fastball for a strike. Dell with 7 hits and 23 at-bats. One of those a double. He'll be a tough guy to strike out. Gross playing him to swing late in left center. Sidearm pitch, and it breaks into the dirt. Ball 1, strike 1. Stocks held up by rain after 2 innings at Detroit, no score. Milwaukee carries an early lead at Boston against the Red Sox, 2-0 at the end of 2.5. Larry Heisel got Milwaukee on the board with a home run in the first inning with a man on and a ball missing low and inside. How many home runs, Lou, does Heisel have already this year?
I think he has 5, and he's off to a great start.
Ooh. Anybody picked him in the pool to lead the league in homers? Or is it too late?
Not yet.
2-1 delivery. Strike called on the outside corner. Ball 2, strike 2. Montreal with a 1-0 lead. 1 out, top of the second inning, bases empty. Burris working on Unser. Here's the pitch. Swung on and a high fly ball down the left field foul line. Kingman giving chase to it. May have a play. Nope. Back into the boxes. Out of play. 2-2. Chris Spire due up next. The last 4 defeats that Burris suffered last year, in 3 of those defeats, the Cubs scored 1 run in each of 3 games. And the other one, they were shut out. Two-two pitch coming up from the big right-hander, and Unser swings, gets under it, fouls it back up onto the net behind the plate. 2-2 on him. In his career, all with the Cubs, he's a winning pitcher. 49 victories, going after the 50th of his career today. He's lost 45. 2-2 delivery. Swung on and missed. Well, it broke down sharply. Rader dropped it, tagged Unser in the batter's box. That's the first strikeout of the day by Ray and his 5th of the season. Base is empty for the 8th man in the batting order, Chris Spire. But off to a slow start when he got over to Montreal from San Francisco last year. He was unhappy with the Giants, and he hadn't been playing very much. But he got the bat moving pretty good. And he's done very well so far this year. He steps in hitting .333 and has a homer. Goes after the first pitch, a fastball. Fouls it into the box seats behind the Montreal dugout. Spire has batted in 6 runs this year. The Montreal Expos as a team have 7 homers, 34 runs batted in their first 8 games. 0-1 delivery. Sidearm fastball. Misses down around the knees away. Ball 1, strike 1. Warren Cromartie doubled on the first pitch of the ball game, his first base hit of the year. Ball might have been caught. 1-1 pitch. There's a swing and a deep drive, left center field. Gross on the dead run. He reaches out and gloves it one-handed, going in towards left field, and that retires Chris Spire in the Montreal Expos. Nice running catch by Gross. Ball well hit. 3 up and 3 down, and the Cubs come to bat against Steve Rogers at the end of 1.5. The Expos carry a 1-0 lead.
Over 70 General Finance offices in the Chicagoland area to borrow up to $10,000. Call Andover 3-2020. Also an office in Addison.
Before Bobby Mercer steps in here, I want to take a moment for station identification. This is the WGN Chicago Cubs Baseball Network.
This is WGN Radio Chicago.
Vince Lloyd and Lou Boudreau here with you at Wrigley Field. Mercer hitting .242 with a half a dozen runs batted in this year. And before Bobby steps in, got an idea for you to help boost the morale in your company, of your employees. Why don't you give them all a group outing out here at the ballpark? You'll have a great time, hot sandwiches, cold drinks, major league action. And don't you worry about the details. All you have to do is call EB7-1919 Ernie Banks in the group sales staff. We'll look after the arrangements for charter bus service. See to it you all sit together, good box seats. You call today and ask about the Ernie Banks special group package for groups of 20 or more. First pitch by Rogers. Mercer swings and misses. Ball breaking away from him. The number is EB7-1919, and the area code for you out-of-towners, 312. You can call, collect with no obligation. Message furnished by the Cubs. Strike one pitch is a fastball over the top. Rogers misses outside at the letters. 1-1 on Bobby Mercer. Expos with a cheap run in the first inning. Cubs went down in order against Rogers. Nobody got the ball out of the infield. One strikeout. Got to Jesus looking, and he misses inside. Ball 2, strike 1. Dave Kingman due up next to be followed by Olivares. We need a few more. 2-1 pitch. Fastball outside. Ball 3, strike 1. In his career against the Cubs, Rogers, 7 wins, 6 losses. 2 of those defeats suffered in the 77 campaign. 3-1 delivery. Goes after it. Bouncing ball. Past Perez. Past Cash. Into right field. A seeing eye single for Bobby Mercer to open up the second inning. Now let's see if the Cubs can bring him around and tie up the ball game. Just barely eluded Tony Perez. Barely eluded Davy Cash, the second baseman. And here's Dave Kingman. See if he can atone for misjudging. 1 in the first inning that got Montreal on the board. Dave, 5 hits in his first 29 trips to the plate. One of them a home run. Got it at Pittsburgh. Hitting only .172 with 2 runs batted in. Big, tall, slender right-hander. The pitch. Takes it, misses outside, ball 1. Field, of course, had to be covered this morning. No chance for some batting practice by anybody. Check signs with third base coach Joe Malfitano. Outfield swung around to the left and deep for him. Infield back deep. Cash shaded up the middle. Second, there's a swing and a miss. He lunged out after a breaking ball, down and away. 1-1. Favors swings late and hits one down that right field line. He and Mercer both out of score. 1-1 pitch. Swung on. Drive into left field, and it's in for a base hit. A single for Dave Kingman. Lines it in front of Warren Cromartie. Solid line shot. Nobody out. Cub runners at first and second. And Steve Olivares, the batter. Steve with a very shaky start at the plate so far in this young season. 1 hit in his first 14 trips to the plate. And as a southpaw swinger, the way he's going against Rogers, Cub third baseman 0 for 6. Let's see if he can keep it going. Trio due up next. Rogers in a bit of a jam. Right-hander's pitch. Olivares takes it high. Ball 1. And Cotter going out to talk to him. Steve, you had an interview with, Lou, you had an interview with Steve before the ball game today. Did he talk about his hitting at all? I didn't get a chance to hear him.
About his injury?
About his hitting.
Well, no, he didn't. He said that the cold weather, he's not apt to do much hitting. He doesn't like cold weather. He said he's still not 100% well, but he wants to play.
Got a great attitude. And he generally makes good contact. The stretch, the pitch to him, swung on, and a drive into right field. That's in there for a base hit. And Alpatano holds up Mercer at third as Unser wheels a throw into the plate. The bases are loaded with nobody out. And that's Olivares' first hit as a southpaw hitter. 3 straight singles. Manny Trio with a chance not only to tie up the ball game, but to give the Cubs the lead is going to be the hitter. Manny hitting .355. He has 11 hits in his first 31 trips to the plate. 2 of those hits are doubles. The other 9 are singles. The base is jammed, and nobody out. 1-0 Montreal. Maybe not for long. The pitch. Swung on, he tops one and foul on the third base side. On 1 the count on Trio. His feet pretty close together, stance straight away. Very compact swing normally. Looks at a slider, and it's in for a strike. Rogers changing his speed on that one. For Marty, Dawson, and Unser in the outfield for the Montreal Expos. Neither Dawson or Unser are very deep, and Unser way off the right field line for him. Montreal hoping for a double play ball. 0-2 pitch. Takes, just misses outside. Ball 1, strike 2. Rogers has been the bellwether of this Montreal staff. And he's got some good, strong competition right now, particularly from a couple of newcomers. 1-2 delivery. Swung on, double play ball to the shortstop. Spire over to Cash. Cash digs it out, throws to first base. The tying run scores. But there are 2 gone. Kingman winds up at third base. And the Expos have just reeled off their 10th double play of this young season. Batter does not get credit for a run batted in on a double play. Dave Rader stepping in, drove in a couple of runs Sunday and a couple of the day before. He has 4 runs batted in for the season. At least Lou and I feel he has. I say that because the statistical sheet supplied us by the Cubs and supplied to all the press media credits Davey with only 2 runs batted in. Rogers throws a good sinker. Here's the pitch. Checks, he swings, it's a strike anyway. Came in, caught the inside corner above the knees to a left-handed hitting catcher. Rader batting .235. 8 hits in his first 34 at-bats, including 2 doubles. Left-hander grips that bat right at the knob. Pretty deep in the batter's box. Here's the pitch low. Throw to third base, and Kingman back standing. Carter, a good arm. And if you were a youngster out here, you might have seen that the left fielder, Cromartie, alert, raced over to back up that play at third base, just in case. Rogers stepped off the pitching rubber for a moment. Now, the tall, lanky right-hander back up, looks down to Carter to get his sign. Runner at third. Here's the windup and the 1-1 delivery, and Rader swings, and he bounces a little foul ball off against the brick wall on the line to the plate in third base. So the count, ball 1, strike 2. The inning opened with 3 straight singles by Mercer, Kingman, and Olivares. And a run tallying when Trio hit into a double play ball. Lead run over at third if Dave Rader can get him in. 1-2 delivery. Swung on, and a base hit into right field. Kingman comes across the plate. The Cubs lead 2-1 on Dave Rader's 5th run batted into the season. to me. He stayed with that pitch pretty good.
Oh,
Lou.
yes. He's a good hitter. Swings that bat. When he gets around to pull that ball like that, you know he has a strong wrist. Normally, he goes to the other field. With 2 strikes on him, he guards that plate very well.
Now Ray Burris, with the outset of this inning, was trailing 1-0, steps into the batter's box, and he and the Cubs have a 2-1 lead. He swings at the first pitch, bounces it down to the third baseman, Larry Parrish, gets it in the grass, throws over to Perez. The Cubs are retired, but they send 6 men to the plate in the second inning, come up with 2 runs on 4 base hits, all singles.
It's a way of doing business that means true value.
Well, it's nice to be able to come back so soon after giving him kind of a cheap run. Vince Lloyd, and here is Lou Boudreau as we go into the third inning. Lou?
Thank you, Vince. Rogers, Montreal pitcher, will lead off. And then the top of the order, Cromartie and Dave Cash. Sun breaking through, and the overcast skies here with the wind continuing to blow in from right field, but it's at an angle and blowing out towards left somewhat. Rogers, right-handed hitter, hitting .250. He has 1 for 4 in this season. Cubs play him straight away. Mercer moving towards the foul line and in quite a bit. First pitch on its way to Roger. Swinging a little blooper over Strio's head in the right center for a base hit. It wasn't too much of a blooper either. It was a line drive for a base hit. So, as in the first inning, Montreal has started off the inning with a base hit. This gentleman, Cromartie, started off the ball game with a double. Rogers on first. He's going to put on his jacket. Gardner, the coach at first base, helps him on with the jacket. Tying run on first base for Montreal. Cromartie, young outfielder, left-handed hitter. Levels the bat over the plate. Altaveras moving in at third. The pitch, fly ball, center field. Gross should be under this one. He's there waiting for it to come down. It does, and he grabs it for the out. Expos going after the first pitch thrown by the Cub right-hander as Cromartie opened up the inning, hitting the first pitch for a double. And here in the third inning, Rogers went after the first pitch for a single to right. Now here's Dave Cash, who walked in the first inning. Rogers with a short lead at first. The pitch. Cash swings and misses on that let-up curveball. Strike 1. Bittner playing about 4 or 5 feet behind the base runner at first base. A 1-strike pitch on its way. Inside fastball, 1-1 to count. Cubs have 2 runs, 4 hits. Montreal 1 run, 3 hits. Cash is ready. The pitch, swinging a ground ball to the right of the mound, grabbed by the right-hander. He fires to first to retire Cash, but Rogers advances to second. Infield and in front of home plate, quite soft. So any ball that comes off of that bat and directly hits the dirt in front of home plate will certainly be slowed up due to the sand that has been put on the diamond in front of the plate. Now here's Dawson. He hit into a fast double play, the Cubs' 7th of the year in the first inning. 2 outs, Rogers on second. The pitch, inside fastball, ball 1. Carter due up next. We're in the top of the third inning. Cubs lead 2-1. Rogers takes a short lead at second base. Cubs are not paying any attention to him with 2 outs. There's a swing and a miss by Dawson. Now the count is 1-1. Dawson batting, 2 outs. Cubs play Dawson to pull as Gross is shading into left center. There's one inside, and once again, it's ball 2, strike 1. Ontiveros at third, DeJesus at short, Trio at second, Bittner at first. Ball 2, strike 1 pitch. Low, bounces out of Rader's glove. Rogers does not advance. It's 3-1. Carter due up next. Ball 3, strike 1, 2 outs. Here's the pitch now to Dawson. Swings and misses on that let-up curveball that has the Montreal Expos out in front on their swing. It's now full count, 3-2. Cubs will be here tomorrow afternoon, Thursday afternoon, against the same Montreal Expos. Then the Mets come into town. Tap foul as Dawson was late in that, swinging at that fastball. So the count remains 3-2. Dawson with 2 home runs already this season. One a winning blow in Montreal. The 3-2 pitch on its way. Swinging a ground ball in the hole. DeJesus knocks it down. Cannot make a play, but he saves a run. A very fine defensive play by DeJesus. Moving quickly to his right, gloves the ball, but his speed took him to the outfield grass, and he could not make a play. Had that ball been through the infield, Rogers would have scored. So it's an infield hit for Dawson. It moves Rogers to third. The 4th hit for Montreal. Now runners on first and third with 2 outs for Carter, who doubled over Kingman's hit in the first inning to score Cromartie. Fastball inside, he jumps away from it. Ball 1. Still 2 outs. Cubs looking for that 3rd out. The 1-ball pitch now to Carter, outside. Ball 2, no strikes. This individual has improved tremendously as a hitter. He always is a threatening hitter at the plate. He always was and will be. But he's improved insofar as knowing that strike zone. One of the reasons Williams has him in that cleanup spot. Toss to first, no play as Dawson gets back safely. Ball 2, no strikes to Carter. Rogers with the lead off third. Here's the ball 2 pitch. Instead, he throws to first, and once again, Dawson gets back safely. Cubs with a 1-run lead, but Montreal threatening here in the 3rd inning. Runners set. Here's the pitch. Swing and a line drive foul into the Cubs bullpen. That was high around the head of Carter, and he just chopped at it in a line drive foul in the Cubs bullpen. The count now, ball 2, strike 1. Bittner holding Dawson on at first. Ontiveros is not holding Rogers close to third base. 2-1 pitch is a fastball for a strike over the outside corner. 2-2 the count, 2 outs, 2 men on. Olson, the plate umpire. Throw to first, and Dawson gets back safely. Now we're set as Carter levels the bat over the plate. Dawson with his lead off first. Rogers is off third. 2-2 pitch. Fastball inside. He had to turn away from it. Almost hit him. 3-2 on Carter. Now with 3-2 on the hitter and 2 outs, Bittner will play behind the base runner at first base. They'll give him that extra step just so Bittner can protect that position. swing and a foul off of the leg of Carter. So we'll have to repeat that particular situation once again. It's 3-2 on Carter. Montreal runners on first and third. Once again now, it's getting quite overcast here at Wrigley Field. They expect rain and thunderstorms coming into the Chicago area around 6 o'clock. The 3-2 pitch. There goes Dawson. Outside, just missing the corner. Carter walks to load them up. Second walk issued to Montreal. Dawson advances to second base. Rogers holds at third. Carter is at first for Tony Perez. Perez closed out the first inning with a grounder down to Veras. Right-handed hitter. Bases are loaded. 2 outs. First pitch on its way. Swing and a tap foul back to the screen. Kingman moves back deep in the left field. He's only a couple of steps in front of the warning track. Gross is straightaway center field, as is Mercer in right, and they're quite deep. You know, here's a great idea to boost employee morale. Give them all a group outing at Wrigley Field. Your workers will have a great time enjoying hot sandwiches, cold drinks, Major League action. Call EB 71919 at 30 Banks. Group sales staff will take very fine care of you. Strike one pitch. Swing and a miss on a good fastball high and inside. So the count now 0-2 to the veteran Perez. Rogers on third, Dawson at second, Carter at first. The 0-2 pitch on its way. A swing and a fly ball into right field. Mercer's there going back, flips the glasses, makes the catch. Perez just reached out. Did not have a good swing, and yet he drove that ball deep into right field. That Mercer scampered under to make the catch to retire Montreal in the third inning with no runs, 2 hits, 3 men left on the bases. Cubs come to bat. Third inning, Cubs 2, Montreal 1. Rogers, who was on base for quite a few minutes in the top of the third, taking a little time getting to the mound, starting his warm-ups. The Cubs will send to Jesus, Gross, and Bittner. Top 3 men in their batting order to face Rogers. De Jesus called out on strikes. First time at bat. Ivan De Jesus saved the run with a great defensive play in the top of the inning. And consequently, Montreal did not score due to that fine play. Now we're all set. First pitch, Rogers' curveball is outside. Ball 1. Jesus swings, hits a ground ball to Parrish at third. He has it, fires across to Perez for the out. 1 out, and here's Gross at bat. Grounded back to Rogers in the first inning. Then Rogers had an easy inning, but in the second inning, singles by Mercer leading off the inning, followed by Kingman and Ontiveros, loaded up the bases, and then Trio hit into a fast double play to score the first run of the inning by the Cubs, and then Raiders singled in the lead run. Cubs lead 2-1. Curveball high. Ball 1 to Gross. Parrish right near third base, even though Gross is a left-handed hitter. Inside, fastball, ball 2. So Montreal, after scouting Gross and knowing him and how he hits, plays him to hit late. 2-0 pitch. Strike. He took it right down the middle. Bittner due up next. Rogers with the windup, the 2-1 pitch. Pop foul into the upper deck. 2-2 the count. 1 out here in the third inning. Tonight, Atlanta will be at San Francisco, Houston at San Diego, Cincinnati at Los Angeles, Philadelphia at Pittsburgh, New York at St. Louis. A swing and a tap foul past Cookie Rojas. Bill Barnum and the Cincinnati Reds took care of the Dodgers last night very easily. They were hitting, they were running the bases as if the Dodgers didn't know what to do defensively. Double steals. Steals take advantage of poor relays into the plate. Here's a swing and a line drive deep in the left center. It's over the left fielder's head. It's against the wall. Cromartie picks it up. Fires it to his shortstop, conceding the double to Gross. Well, they were playing Gross to swing late, but they didn't put anybody that deep on the warning track in left center as he doubles for the 5th Cub hit off Rogers. For Gross, that's his first double of the season. Now, here's Larry Bittner. Went after the first pitch and grounded out to the second baseman. Bittner will not go after that first pitch very often, but he's playing against his former teammates, so perhaps has changed his style at the plate. He swings at the first pitch once again. Hits it to Perez at first. Rogers covering first base. He takes the toss from Perez. Bittner is out, and Gross advances to third. 2 outs now, and Bobby Mercer. Mercer singled to right as he split Cash, the second baseman, and Perez at first with a ground ball, just eluding both men. Now 2 outs, and Gross finds himself at third. Cubs 2, Montreal 1, bottom of the third inning. Mercer levels the bat over the plate. Rogers into the windup, first pitch. Fastball low. Ball 1. Let's pause 5 seconds for station identification. This is the WGN Chicago Cubs Baseball Network.
This is WGN Radio, Chicago.
1-ball pitch. Swing and a ground ball foul in between the base runner Gross and the coach Amalfitano at third is an indication that Rogers still is quick with his fastball. He throws that sinker and a good fastball. He's fooled a couple of the Cubs with his overhand curveball today. 1-1 pitch. A swing and another foul out of play, and that was a fastball. He will not throw many curveballs during a ball game. Picks his spot. Usually a good fastball, sinker ball pitcher, trying to keep everything low. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Rogers glances at Gross. The wind up the pitch. There's the curveball into the dirt. He wanted to make sure that curveball was low, and it was, and he pulled it into the dirt. And a very fine play by Carter. So the count now is 2-2. Rogers being very careful with Mercer. He's ready. Here's the 2-2 pitch. Curveball, and he swings and misses. He broke off another curveball, and Mercer just wasn't ready for it. Wasn't looking for it. So Mercer strikes out. Second strikeout for Rogers. In the third inning, no runs, 1 hit, 1 man left on base for the Cubs. At the end of 3, the Cubs have 2 runs on 5 hits. Montreal 1 run, 4 hits. It'll be Parrish, Unser, and Spire for Montreal to open up the fourth inning. Parrish grounded out to DeJesus at short in the second inning. In the American League this afternoon, the White Sox and Detroit was postponed because of rain after 2 innings. New York Yankees lead Baltimore 3-1 at the end of 5. First pitch is a strike called to Parrish. It's Milwaukee 3, Boston 2 at the end of 4.5. Inside fastball, 1-1 to count. California will be at Seattle tonight. 1-1 pitch. Popped up by the Montreal dugout. Bittner there, but the ball lands back out of play. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Parrish, big right-handed hitter. Levels the dirt in the batter's box. Now he sets. The 1 ball, 2 strike pitch. Swing and a foul ball into the Montreal bullpen. It scatters the Expos. The ball was a slider going away from Parrish, and he just hit it on the end of the bat. Parrish going back over to the on-deck circle, talking to Unser. He perhaps has a few bees in his hands, as that one really stung. He hit it right on the end of the bat. Now he sets in the batter's box. We're all set to go. The 1-2 pitch on its way. Swing and a tap in from the plate. Off the mound comes the pitcher. He throws to first, and Bittner grabs it one-handed for the out. So Parrish is out 1-3. Hitting that ground ball in front of the plate, and it's very soft in front of that plate. It only rolled about 6 or 8 feet onto the grass. Here's Unser at bat. Struck out in the second inning. Del Unser. First pitch by the Cub right-hander is inside, ball 1. Ontiveros has moved off of the third base foul line by some 15 feet. Unser takes a strike, knee-high fastball. It's 1-1. Cubs lead 2-1. We're in the 4th inning. This is not a complete game as yet. Low, ball 2. If this lead holds up with the Cubs leading 2-1, then we must play 4.5 innings before it is an official game. If it is tied or Montreal takes the lead, then we must play 5 complete innings. There's another strike taken by Unser. He is just not ready for that fastball. The count 2-2. Rader gives out the sign. 2-2 pitch on its way. Slow curveball breaks low and inside, and it's a full count of 3-2. Spire, veteran shortstop, will be next. Unser levels the bat over the plate. Full count. Unser swings. It's a ground ball to DeJesus. He moves to his left, gloves it, throws the first for the out. 2 outs in the 4th inning, and now here's Chris Spire. Hit the ball well in the 2nd inning, but Gross, moving over into left center, made a fine running catch. Spire, right-handed hitter, steps in the batter's box, levels the bat over the plate, and awaits the first pitch. It's on its way. Swing and a ground ball to shortstop. He's a dead duck, going to first with that DeJesus. So in the fourth inning, 1-2-3, the Montreal Expos go down. No runs, no hits. Nobody left on base at the end of 3.5 innings of play. Cubs 2, Montreal 1. Fourth inning. Let's see if the Cubs can put a few more runs on that scoreboard. It'll be Kingman, who singled into left field his first time at bat in the second inning, and then on Tavares and Manny Trio. Say, what do you give a Cub fan for his birthday? Cubs game, naturally, in the form of a gift certificate. Better order two so your birthday person has company. Just write Ticket Office, Wrigley Field, Chicago 60613. Box seats are $5.50. Reserve grandstand just $4.50. Add 50 cents per order for postage and handling. Specify gift certificates in your request. This message furnished by the Chicago Cubs. First pitch to Kingman. He swings and fouls that ball back to the screen. Strike one. Kingman hit a sinking line drive in the left field for his base hit. Power hitters, when they hit line drives, will either sink for base hits, or if they get under one and they start rising, they'll leave a ballpark. Here's a swing and a miss. Strike two on Dave. Tavares due up next. Rogers is ready. The pitch. Curveball, and he swings and misses. He wasn't wasted any. He come right back to get Kingman, and that's the third strikeout for Rogers. And now here's Tavares. Tavares singled to right, but he singled so sharply to right in the second inning, Mercer could not score from second base and had to be held up at third. The pitch. Led up, outside, ball one. That was Tavares' first hit left-handed in the second inning. He takes high on the next pitch, and it's ball two. No strikes. Montreal Expos in town tomorrow and Thursday. And then the Mets come in for a weekend. Outside, ball three, as Rogers seemed to aim that pitch. So now it's 3-0 on Tavares with Manny Trio due up next. 3-0 pitch from Rogers. Strike called. Tavares just turned in the batter's box, hoping that Olson might give him the call, but he didn't. 3-1 pitch as Rogers works quickly. Swinging a foul onto the net. So Rogers has come up now with a count of 3-2 after being behind 3-0. Ball three, strike two, nobody on base, one out. The pitch. Swinging a ground ball to second baseman. Cash has it, sidearms it to Perez for the out. Two outs. Now here's Manny Trio. Manny hit into a double play in the second inning. When the Cubs loaded the bases with nobody out, it looked as if it might be a good inning. But after the double play, Rader had to single in the second run. Now Trio steps in the batter's box. Rogers into the wind-up first pitch. Low. Fastball. Ball one. The ball one pitch on its way. Low, ball two, as Rogers tried to get a little extra on that sinker. Manny Trio off to a great start, hitting 353, 354 right now. He levels that bat over the plate. He has his sign from Amalfitano. Here's the pitch. He swings, that's a high fly ball to center field. Dawson is there in its track. It's come down. He gloves it one-handed for the out. Cubs go down 1-2-3 in the fourth inning. No runs, no hits. Nobody left on base. At the end of 4, Cubs 2, Montreal 1.
Now the Congo showroom, Jerry Lewis and Diane Carroll for dinner shows. Buddy Hackett and Peter Marshall at midnight. First will be facing his mount opponent, Steve Rogers. Then the top of the Montreal batting order as our ball game now moves into the fifth inning. New York Yankees at the end of 6 innings of play. At home to Baltimore this afternoon, carry a 3-2 lead. Guidry against Martinez. Milwaukee leading the Boston Red Sox at the end of 5 innings of play. Milwaukee 3, the Red Sox 2. Sorensen against Eckersley for the Red Sox. And the White Sox-Detroit game had to be called off because of rain after 2 scoreless innings in Detroit. Rogers opened up the 3rd inning, and he singled into right field, got as far as 3rd. Then Burr stranded him. First pitch, and he takes a strike right at the knees. He bails out considerably at the plate. Wind up the pitch. Fastball low and away. Ball 1, strike 1 on him. Norm Sherry, who came over to the Montreal Expos the offseason, was labeled as, here's a fastball missing low, 2-1, bullpen coach. But he's working at third base this afternoon. Billy Gardner coaching at first. 2-1 pitch. Takes a whack at it, hits a high foul. It's going to be out of play. Over in the third base side to level the count at 2-2 on Rogers. Ray could well have a shutout here. Shaky fielding by Dave Kingman in the first inning. Netted Montreal a run. 2-2 delivery. Bounces a little foul ball, comes back over in the line to the plate in the third base, retrieved by the Montreal bat boy. Rogers, 6'1", about 182, 85. 5th year in the majors. 2-2 delivery. Goes to right field with that one. Curls one that's going foul out of play. Right into the box seats. Bobby Mercer coming over to chase it. And the count stays at ball 2, strike 2 on the pitcher. Montreal credited with 4 base hits. The Cubs with 5. And the Cubs owning a 2-1 lead. Now Ray is ready, and the delivery to Rogers. Swung on a miss. Got him with a slider. And that for Burris is his 2nd strikeout of the afternoon. That'll bring up the top of the batting order. Left fielder, Warren Cromartie, who opened up the ball game on the first pitch with a double. And he eventually scored when, with 2 away, Carter hit a drive that Dave Kingman just misjudged out there and finally wound up going over his glove for a double that drove in Cromartie. Left-handed hitter. And he takes a ball low and inside. That base hit that he got in that first inning is his first of the year. He is now 1 for 19 for the season. Wind up the pitch. Strike call. Tomorrow it'll be a battle of left-handers out here at Wrigley Field. 1-1 delivery. Curve a little low. Ball 2, strike 1. Woody Fryman scheduled to go against his one-time teammates for the Cubs. And Rudy May, a left-hander, 0-1 for Montreal this year. Both are veterans. 2-1 pitch. Checks his swing at a fastball that's a little high and away. Ball 3, strike 1. Ray has walked 2 men, struck out 2. Right-hander is ready. 3-1 delivery. Low and inside for ball 4. Cromartie reaches. He represents the tying run of the ball game. Davy Cash walked in the first inning, was rubbed out when Dawson rounded into a double play. And Cash in the third inning hit one to the third base side of the mound and was thrown out by Burris. Cash got a bundle of bucks, signing as a free agent with this ball club from Philadelphia. First pitch. The right-hander takes a ball. Fastball a little bit low. But they figure he's worth it. Gives stability to that infield, and of course he's always carried a good bat. Didn't hurt the Cubs too much last year. He hit only .240 against Cub pitching and drove in just 2 runs. 1-0 delivery. Steps into the pitch and takes it inside. 2-0, and Burris behind. Davies' best success as a hitter last year was against Atlanta in Cincinnati. Hit .408 against the Reds, .400 against Atlanta. 2-0 delivery. Takes a big swing and bounces a foul ball, retrieved by a customer. In the first row of boxes, he looks right down the line from plate to first base. Ball 2, strike 1. Cash will be 30 on the 11th of June. Makes his home just outside of Philadelphia, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. 2-1 delivery. Bends low over the plate. Throw, lobs one over to first base, and Cromartie looked like he was going to crawl in on his hands and knees. This for Cash is his 8th year in the majors. Another throw, a little better one this time to first base, found Cromartie with a short lead, and he had no difficulty getting back. Cash a good hit and run man. One away, runner at first with good speed. 2-1 delivery. Swung on and a base hit. Behind third base, rolling down into the Cub bullpen area. Here's Cromartie coming around third, and Sherry holds him at third base as Kingman throws into third and out of Aris. That'd be back in as Cromartie made a big turn and then was sent back by Norm Sherry, and he did not get back there in time as Kingman's throw to Aris nailed him. Sherry looking pretty disgusted. That throw was ripped just inside the third base foul line. And Kingman, with a strong arm, as Cromartie slipped as he put on the brakes, tried to crawl back, and Aris crawling after him. The throw just a little bit on the shortstop side of the bag. Got to him before he could get back into third base. So they're 2 gone, and Cash is on at second base. Mike Rourke, the Cub pitching coach this year, come out to the mound quickly. He wants to talk to Burris as he has to face Andre Dawson. Whatever counsel Rourke has given him doesn't take him long, and Mike jogs back into the Cub dugout behind third. So Cromartie unable to get back into third after overrunning the bag. Credit Dave Kingman with an assist, and the put out, of course, goes to Steve Olivares. Now Dawson got an infield single in the third inning. Swings and he drives one to left field. Kingman coming over, should have it. He does. He makes the two-handed catch and gets a little applause, particularly from the bleacher fans out there, because he's had problems this afternoon out there. But he hauled that hard hit line drive in to retire Montreal in the 5th inning with no runs, a hit, walk, and a man left on. The Cubs come to bat at Wrigley Field. The sun is shining brightly here in Chicago right now on the north side. And the score, the Cubs 2 and the Montreal Expos 1.
Hello, General Finance. Friendly Bob Adams speaking.
Bob, should the garage door go up when I use the electric can opener?
What?
Or the toast pop up whenever I vacuum?
Who's this?
Lillian Keppelmeyer here, Bob. Remember you gave Murray, my husband, a loan for electronics school?
Oh, yes, Lillian. How's it...
Should my electric toothbrush brush every time the door buzzer buzzes?
Does it?
Only if the sump pump's running.
Boy, your husband's really a whiz.
All he has him to do is change a light bulb.
And now?
Wait a minute, Bob. I have to preheat the oven here.
Oh, cooking dinner, huh?
No. That turns on all the streetlights on our block.
Maybe Murray should have gone to that upholstery school.
Bob, we need a home repair loan very desperately.
Home repair to...
Repair all the electronic wizardry of Thomas Alva Keppelmeyer.
Well, that home repair loan is practically on its way. Lillian, do I hear water running?
Yes, I'm standing in the shower, Bob. It's the only way I can get the telephone to work. Gotta hang up now. Starting to get pruny.
It's all right. You can always get a little help from a friend at General Finance.
Over 70 General Finance offices in the Chicagoland area to borrow up to $10,000. Call Andover 32020. Dave Rader, who drove in a run with a base hit in the second inning. His 5th RBI this young season. Is going to be leading off, and if he gets on, we'll look for Burris to try to sacrifice him along. Joe Molitor of the Chicago Old Timers Baseball Association dropping by to remind us we have a little date tomorrow night, along with a lot of other people in baseball and good fans at their annual dinner out at Ferrara Manor. I'll have the pleasure of being the MC on that one again. President is former American League umpire John Rice. Mayor Balandic is to officially proclaim tomorrow as Old Timers Baseball Day in Chicago. Give me a rundown in just a few moments of some of the notables who are going to be there that you'll have a chance to meet. First pitch of the ball inside to Dave Rader. Pulled a single into right field and drove in a run. First down the bat, and a curve by Rogers goes into the dirt. 2-0. Dick Dozer, the Chicago Tribune, is going to be honored. Bob Kennedy, Cubs general manager. And Herman Franks, Cubs field manager. Former pitcher Russ Meyer. 2-0 delivery. Takes it high. 3-0. He should be taking this pitch. Rogers in the windup. He takes, and it's a strike. N.C. Faust, of the great organ fame, is also going to be on hand as a special guest tomorrow night. There's a swing on the 3-1 delivery. He fouls it down the left field line. Ball 3, strike 2, and Rogers had a little extra on that one. And so at the speaker's table, scheduled to be Bill Veck, Andy Papko, Milt Pappas, Rollie Heeman, Moose Scouland. There's a ball outside. So Dave Rader coaxes a walk off a rather disgruntled Steve Rogers to open up the 5th inning. That is the first walk that the right-hander has issued this afternoon. And Ray Burris, assigned to sacrifice the batter to second, taking a couple of practice steps before he steps in. He has sacrificed successfully twice this year. Not only pitched well, but he's done a good job at the plate. He also has a base hit. Montreal's bullpen will get busy now. He squares away, pushes a bunt on the first base line. Glove by Tony Perez. He couldn't gamble on it going foul. He tags Ray Burris, and he sacrifices Dave Rader into scoring position. Gets a good hand from the appreciative crowd. And Ivan DeJesus, looking for his first hit of the day, will be the batter. Tickets are available at the door tomorrow night for that annual dinner. Glenn Beckert, slated to be there. Mo Drabowski, Paul Popovich. Have a chance to meet them all. There are a few tickets available at the door at Ferrara Manor, West North Avenue in Chicago. The pitch. Checks his swing. A strike called on the inside quarter just above the knees, and DeJesus not too pleased. He thought that one was out of the strike zone. Rader carrying an insurance run at second base with 1 gone. Cubs batting in the 5th. Rogers checks the runner. Comes to the plate. There's a swing and a well-hit drive to right field, but it's going to be caught. Dale Unser is there. Hauls it in. Wheels the throw in quickly. Rader will have to hold at second. The pitch was up in the eyes of Ivan, and he hit it hard. But right at Dale Unser. Now Greg Gross, the batter, doubled in the 3rd inning. Hit one into left center field out of the warning track. But he was left stranded. That came with 1 out. Bittner then grounded out, and Bobby Mercer fanned to retire the side. Greg 1 for 2 today. Al Dews, a rookie, right-hander, throwing in the Montreal bullpen. It's stretched by Rogers, the pitch. Gross takes the fastball, a strike away from him. Cubs a half game out of the leadership in the National League Eastern Division starting this action today. Half game behind the Phillies, who beat Pittsburgh last night 6-2. Long look at second. Here's a delivery. Takes this one inside at the knees to level the count. Ball one, strike one. Rogers wanting to leave that runner stranded, taking plenty of time between pitches to Gross. Solid hitter. Now the stretch. Rader at second. The pitch. Swung on a change, and he taps it right out to the mound. A good pitch by Rogers to retire the side. Had him way off balance. No runs for the Cubs. No hits. A man left on. Let's pause for station identification. This is the WGN Chicago Cubs Baseball Network.
This is WGN Radio Chicago.
At the end of 5 innings of play at Wrigley Field, Burris out to the hill. He'll face the cleanup hitter, Gary Carter, to get the 6th inning started. The Cubs are leading 2-1.
If you treat your lawn well this spring, it'll really grow on you this summer. Hi, Pat Summerall to explain. This spring, feed your lawn Scott's Turf Builder from True Value Hardware stores. It'll provide a balanced, prolonged feeding, gradually releasing the proper nutrients to your lawn to develop sturdy root systems, so your lawn will grow thick and green, not just tall. So feed your lawn Scott's Turf Builder this spring and watch it grow on you this summer. You'll find Scott's Lawn products at participating True Value Hardware stores.
What is it?
The hash browns patty. Hash browns.
Some people don't know McDonald's hash brown when they see one.
Our crispy golden hash browns are a little funny looking, but one thing sure, they do go great with whatever we got cooking.
They are funny looking.
But they're delicious.
Well, I didn't ask delicious. I figured delicious. This is McDonald's. I'll have them.
Get ready to smile.
McDonald's hash browns, crisp and golden on the outside, tender on the inside.
Just like a real famous fry.
But still funny looking.
They are for you.
So don't eat breakfast.
Gary Carter is to be followed by Tony Perez and then Larry Parrish. 4, 5, and 6 men of the Montreal batting order. Vince Lloyd here with you at Wrigley Field. And the Milwaukee Brewers have just hit Boston with 3 runs in the top of the 6th inning at Fenway Park on Sal Bando's 2nd home run of the year. Larry Heisler had a 2-run shot in the 1st inning. It is Milwaukee 6, Boston 2, Red Sox batting against Sorensen in the bottom of inning number 6. Yankees still leading Baltimore 3-2. That ball game now is in the 7th inning at Yankee Stadium. The Sox rained out at Detroit today. Carter had a drive into left field in the 1st inning that looked like it had retired the side, but Dave Kingman had trouble with it and was ruled a double over Dave's head, which drove in the 1st run of the day and the only one so far for the Montreal Expos. He takes a strike. He walked in the 3rd. He's 1 for 1 officially today. Burris winds and Carter's. Checks he swing on a slider that just missed away. Ball 1, strike 1. Big right-handed hitter. Batted in 7 runs this year. Parrish, the 3rd baseman, leads the club with 8 RBIs. 1-1 delivery. Took a little chopping swing, bounced it foul, back out of play. Ball 1, strike 2. Many of you may think that Wrigley Field has always been the home of the Chicago Cubs, but not so. 1-2 pitch. Gets under it, hits a high fly ball. Dave Kingman coming over near the foul line is under it. The big guy reaches up, makes the 2-handed catch. And they're 2 gone. Fans getting on him a little bit. Tony Perez will be the hitter. 23rd Street grounds, Lakefront Park, West Side Park, West Side grounds. Yeah, the Cubs at various times called all of those places home. First pitch, and Perez takes the ball a little bit low. You can read all about that and a whole lot more about this ball club and the individual players, coaches, the manager. 1-0 pitch. It's low, 2-0 to Perez. And the Cubs spring roster book. You can get it by sending $1 to roster book at Wrigley Field, Chicago, 60613, and add 25 cents for postage and handling. 2-0 delivery. Perez takes A little high, ball 3. He'd like to have a crack at this cripple pitch. And if he got a hold of it, he could tie up the ball game. They just might let Tony go after it. Burris winds. And he had a notion, but he checked his swing on a slider. It barely caught the corner away from him. Ball 3, strike 1. Ray has walked 3 men. 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Got him with a ball that broke down sharply. He wants to keep it down to this guy, to keep him from getting it up in the wind. 3-2 delivery, and Tony Perez swings. He's handcuffed by it, and he pops one up. Manny Trio on the grass behind second is under it. He's got it, and they're 2 away. Good fastball hit Perez right in the fist. Base is empty for Larry Parrish. Oh, he's got a luxurious beard this year. He's grounded out and bounced out. Bounce to the pitcher, into the shortstop. There's a swing and a drive into right center field. That's going to be in there. Mercer coming over. Bobby's going to cut it up. Here's a throw, and he holds him to a long single. Beautiful defensive play by Bobby Mercer. Parrish had made a big turn. He was on his way to second. And Mercer had come over in a hurry. Cut that ball off perfectly. And Parrish is limited to a base hit. That brings up Dale Unser. Struck out in the second, grounded out to DeJesus in the fourth. Left-hander, 0 for 2, replacing Valentine. The outfield, because Valentine has a strained right knee. Checks his swing. The fastball is a strike call over the outside corner to Dell. The new number to call at Wrigley Field this year for tickets. Just 4 tickets. 248-7900. Ray turns and just lobs one over to first base. And that's for tickets only. 248-7900. And of course, you can charge your tickets on your MasterCharge or Visa card. Better throw to first base. But Parrish back in again with 2 gone. Runner on at first, and the Cubs with a 2-1 lead. Now the stretch. And another throw to first. And he down near, got him that time. Parrish back in there barely. With that single here in the 6th inning, Parrish has extended his hitting streak to 8 straight games. Here's a stretch by Ray. Low kick and a ball outside. Sometimes with runners on base, he will lift that front foot barely off the ground, because it helps him get his pitch to the plate a little bit faster, and therefore keeps a man on base closer to that bag. Turns and throws, and Bittner putting the tag on, and Parrish almost got picked off that time. Ray has worked hard on keeping runners on and worked at perfecting his throw to first base, and he's got a good one. Now he's ready. Comes to the plate. There's a swing, and he's out in front of that one. Taps it weakly foul of the first base side. Good changeup. That's been a pitch that Burris worked on in spring training this year. And he said last year he didn't have the patience nor the courage to stay with that changeup in a ball game when he would miss with it the first time or two he'd throw it. And as a result, the opposition, of course, getting good scouting reports, knew about it. They'd lay back for his slider or his fastball. Now he says this year he's learned that he's got to stay with that changeup even when he does miss with it early. Very valuable pitch, and of course a tough one to throw. He doesn't change the length of his stride or anything. He just grips that ball deeper in the hand and tighter in the palm of his hand when he throws it. 1-2 delivery. Fastball this time. It's lowered inside. Ball 2, strike 2 on Dell Unser. Batting here in the top of the 6th inning for the Montreal Expos with 2 out. Runner on at first base. Cubs with a 2-1 lead. Burris ready, delivers. Unser swings and misses, strike 3. That retires the side. Beautiful work. His 3rd strikeout. No runs, 1 hit. 1 man left in the bases. Now the Cubs come to bat. They have Bittner, Mercer, and Kingman to step in against Steve Rogers. As we move into the bottom of the sixth inning at Wrigley Field, it's still the Cubs 2, the Expos 1.
When you brew a beer in God's country, you begin with sparkling pure Wisconsin spring water that flows deep beneath the ground. Then you pure brew, double brew it in a traditional old world way called krausening. Krausening is the most natural way to brew beer and the most expensive. Most expensive because it takes more time. But Heileman's Old Style is one American premium beer that is still fully krausened, naturally carbonated. Because at Old Style, we don't aim to make the most beer, only the best. Taste the difference krausening makes. Try Old Style, pure brewed in God's country. G. Heileman Brewing Company, La Crosse, Wisconsin.
Vince Lloyd here with you at Wrigley Field. Larry Bittner to lead off for the Cubs against Steve Rogers. Both starting pitchers have gone the distance. Not so in the Baltimore-New York Yankee game this afternoon. Sparky Lyle has come on in relief in the sixth inning for the Yankees, with Baltimore having tied up the ball game with a run in the seventh inning. It is 3-3 Yankees batting against Martinez. Kansas City playing at Toronto, just getting underway in a few minutes. Paul Spritorf, 2-0 for the Kansas City Royals against LeManchik for Toronto. Kansas City going after its 8th straight win today up in Canada. First pitch, and Bittner takes a strike. There is bounced out to second and to the first baseman, Tony Perez. Rogers steps back to wind up the pitch. Misses low and inside with a fastball, 1-1. Cubs got their 2 runs in the second inning. 3 successive singles to open it up, then a double play in which the run scored, and there's a ball missing low and away. Then Dave Rader with 2 men out and a man on, singled sharply into right field, driving in the go-ahead run. Wind up 2-1 delivery. Swung on a well-hit drive to the right fielder, Unser. He's there, and he makes the catch belt high. Well, Larry lines out to open up the bottom of the sixth, and that'll bring up Mercer, who opened up the second inning with a single into right field. Tallied eventually on the double play ball off the Datamani trio. Well, Mercer 1 for 2 today. Cubs with 5 hits, 4 of them in the second inning. Fastball swung on, a drive into left field, should be caught. Cromartie is there, reaches out to one side, catches it one-handed. Well, it falls here in the sixth inning, but all the Cubs have to show for it is 2 outs. Here's Dave Kingman. Singled in the second inning, lined one into left field, struck out when he led off the fourth. Dave has bought a condominium apartment on the near north side of Chicago. He looks at that first pitch, a ball, low, and he wouldn't chase it. Low and away. That's a straightaway stance. Hands well away from the body. Here's the pitch. Checks his swing, and that's another ball. Too low. 2-0. He plans to be in the Chicago scene for a long time. Happy to be here. 2-0 delivery. Steps into it, gets under it. He uppercuts a high pop foul that's going to be out of play. Over on the third base side, the second deck of boxes. Boy, he wanted to send that one out of here. A full cut, but he oftentimes has that uppercut swing. Now the 2-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Good fastball to him. The vicious cut by Dave. Red Sox came right back with 3 runs of their own in the bottom of that sixth inning against Milwaukee. 2 out, bases empty, 2-2 delivery. Slaps a high fly ball and it's going to be caught for the second baseman, Davy Cash. Retreated a few steps out of the grass. Kingman got that one right off the end of the bat. 3 up, 3 down. We've got a ball game on our hands at Wrigley Field at the end of 6 full innings of play. Cubs lead Montreal 2-1.
Morning. I'd like to try the breakfast with the hash browns, please.
Oh, McDonald's scrambled eggs and sausage and hash browns breakfast with an English muffin, toasted English muffin.
What's the name of it?
McDonald's scrambled eggs and sausage and hash brown breakfast with a toasted English muffin.
Tra la. But, I mean, what's the name of it?
We don't have a name.
McDonald's scrambled eggs and sausage and hash browns breakfast.
But, I mean, that's too long.
Well, I guess it could use a shorter name.
You need punchy here. You need punchy name. You need name punchy quick.
Oh, you mean like Egg McMuffin?
People order fast, punchy quick, name fast here.
McEgg sauce hash browns.
Greg Bersauce.
Egg nut sauce hash reg bread.
It doesn't flow.
2 freshly scrambled eggs.
2 scram. McScram.
McScram.
Amsteak.
No. Pure pork sausage.
Maposa.
A buttered toasted English muffin.
Toasted muffin.
McMuffin.
McTolishman.
And a big helping of our great hash browns.
Oh.
Deep fried to be crispy on the outside, tender on the inside. Just like our world-famous fries.
So you do want that?
Yes, I want that. Didn't I say that?
You got it.
That's the band for breakfast. I'll have that.
Our scrambled eggs and sausage and hash browns breakfast.
Would you like just some McDonald's coffee with that?
McGuffey.
McGuffey.
All of a sudden, the sun has disappeared. We've got a heavy cloud cover and a threat of rain in the air. We're moving into the 7th inning, and the 8th man of the Montreal batting order is Chris Spire. He steps in behind plate umpire Andy Olson and catcher Dave Rader. Take his spot in the batter's box. Right-handed hitter, burst hitter, showing out in the Cub bullpen down the left field line. Getting late in the ball game. Rader has lined to center and grounded out to short today. Wind up and Burris' first pitch. Chris takes the fastball high, ball 1. Milwaukee now leading 6-5 at Red Sox home Fenway Park at the end of 6. There's the ball, a little bit low, 2-0. Rodriguez had to come on in relief of Sorensen for the Brewers in that 6th inning. 2-0 pitch by Ray. Spire faking a bunt. He was going to take it all the way, and it's a strike called on him. Ball 2, strike 1. Rookie Dennis Lamp is scheduled to face Wayne Twitchell of Montreal here in the closing game of this series, day after tomorrow. There's a strike called on a good fastball by Ray. He already pitched 1 complete game this year out of his first 2 outings. Could well have a shutout here today going into the 7th. 2-2 delivery to Spire. Checks his swing, strike 3 called. A fastball tailing away from him. He grouses a little bit at Andy Olson as he becomes Burris' 4th strikeout victim of the afternoon. Steve Rogers, the batter, has singled leading off the 3rd inning and then struck out when he led off the 5th inning. They got 2 hits in the 1st inning. Second one especially very tainted. It drove in their only run. 2 hits in the 3rd. A pair of singles and a walk. They had the bases loaded, but Perez flied out to Mercer to retire the side. Rogers wanted to reach with a bunt, and he missed for a strike. He's pitched well. He and Burris have both done an excellent job to wind up the pitch. Swung on and missed. Looked like a slider. 0-2. No action in the Montreal bullpen, of course. Suter throwing for the Cubs. There's a ball just outside. Ball 1, strike 2. One away, bases empty. Top of inning number 7 at Wrigley Field, and the delivery. Fastball just a little bit high. We'd have had him out of there. Ball 2, strike 2. Hernandez has been the workhorse of the bullpen so far for the Cubs. 2-1 pitch. It's a little foul ball that caroms off the wall right near the Montreal dugout. Winds up in the hands of first base umpire Jimmy Quick. And the count on Rogers, battling to stay alive, remains at 2-2. Mercer very, very shallow in right field, guarding the line. Gross shallow, straightaway center. The pitch. Swung on. He bounces one to the right side. Bittner off first base has it. Throws to Burris in time for the out. Nice play. Not a particularly easy one. Takes good timing and good work by everybody on one like that, Lou, huh?
They work on that play from the first day they report to spring training. That is one play that means that you get your pitcher in shape, number one. You get the timing from your first baseman to the pitcher covering, and you instructed the pitchers to go directly to that corner of the cut grass at first base and then move down the line so he will not be spiked.
There's a swing by Cromartie, and this little left-hander drills one down to the right field corner. Bobby Mercer coming over. Picks it up, and Cromartie goes jogging into second base with his second double of the day. Remember, he came into town looking for his first hit of the season. He had gone 0 for 17. He walloped the first pitch in the left center field, and it was a double, and he scored their only run so far. In the third inning, he flied out to Gross in center, walked in the fifth inning, overran third base on a double off the bat of Davy Cash, tried to crawl back into third on his hands and knees. Alvarez came crawling back into the bag. He won that race, and that was a big out for Marty, making the second out of the inning. He would have been able to tally because Dawson lined one to left field that would have produced a run to tie it up, but it ended the inning instead. There's a strike. And Davy Cash, who was walked, grounded out to Burris and doubled. 2 gone, tying run at second to pitch. Strike call to get fastball just above the knees and away from the veteran Davy Cash. Ray has now given up 7 hits for the day, but still leads 2-1. 0-2 pitch. Wasted it away at the knees. Ball 1, strike 2 on Dave Cash. Tough hitter. Mercer shallow for him and has to guard the line, even though he's a right-handed hitter. Look at second base at little Cromartie. Here's the pitch. He slaps the ground ball. Off the mound comes Burris on the first base side. He has it. The inning is over. Goes to Bittner to retire Davy Cash. He had him fooled with that one. No runs, 1 hit. They leave a man stranded. Time for the 7th inning stretch at Wrigley Field. Alvarez is to lead off, and the Cubs come to bat, leading 2-1. Well, we don't know how the game is going to turn out, but we do know that this has got to be the smallest home crowd of the season. Let me tell you, we've got some pretty doggone good fans who will brave the weather conditions that we had here this morning in Chicago, and the chilliness that continues to prevail, even though summer supposedly has arrived. Pretty good turnout, and certainly an enthusiastic one. Steve Alvarez drew some applause in the second inning when he got the 3rd straight hit of that inning off of Steve Rogers. Steps into the batter's box. In the 4th inning, Steve grounded out for the second baseman, Davy Cash. Rogers' first pitch takes a strike away. Manny Trio in the on-deck circle. Dave Rader, with the run batted in already today, is due up third. Here's the pitch. Backs him away with that one, 1-1. Speaking of crowds, we ought to have a real good one here when the San Francisco Giants make their first visit to Chicago in May. 1-1 pitch. Let's up on that one. Misses high and away. 2-1. Giants are going to be in here 5th, 6th, and 7th, and the 6th and 7th are mighty special days. Tell you about it in a moment. 2-1 pitch, swung on. A high fly ball. Should be caught by Dawson, the center fielder. Moves into left center, and he's on it. Alvarez is out of there. That brings up Trios, 0 for 2. If you're 13 and under, May 6th, May 7th, you can take home a pretty nifty Cub 12-gauge vinyl windbreaker, complete with the Cubs emblem. 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, May 6th and 7th. Qualify for a jacket on either day, you must be among the first 15,000 youngsters, 13 or younger, with fully paid admission, bleacher tickets not included. First pitch, Trio takes a strike. So kids, ask your folks to take you out to the ballpark, Wrigley Field. Jacket giveaway weekend, Saturday and Sunday, May 6th and 7th. Swing and a foul. Bounced the fastball right back to the backstop. And if you're a parent, why don't you mark either one or both of those days as red letter days for your kids? Saturday and Sunday, May 6th and 7th. Message furnished by the Chicago Cubs. Ricky Rojas spotted a ball that got away from the Montreal bullpen, retrieves it on the first base line. Trio grounded into a double play in the second inning, flied out to the center fielder Dawson to retire the Cubs in the fourth. Now we're ready, the 0-2 pitch. High and tight. Ball one, strike two. Paul Russell now throwing in the Cub bullpen. See Joe Wallace down there loosening up also. Here's a swing and a drive into left field. It's going to be in for a base hit. Cromartie coming over to cut it off in the first top, and Manny Trio, with one away in the seventh, lines a single to left. Dave Rader, been on twice today. A single, driving in a run, produced Kingman to the plate in the second inning. That gave the Cubs a lead, and they're still holding it 2-1.
This is a spot for Franks to use a hit and run, Vince, with Rader at bat and the pitcher coming up next.
Rio, pretty good lead. First pitch swung on. Runner was not going, and he hits a high fly ball deep to left field. It's way back on the warning track. Cromartie reaches up and he hauls it in. And Trio is on at second. Gets on back to first base. Well hit the opposite side by Rader. Way back in front of the wall, deep in the warning track. Cromartie, like so many outfielders today, prefer to grab that ball one-handed. They say it's easier. Now Ray Burris. He swings. Hits one to the right side. A base hit for Ray. Trio will have to stop at second base. Nice little ground ball. Nice in-out swing there by Ray. That's his second hit of this young season. And he's now a .333 hitter for the year. That keeps the inning alive, brings up Ivan De Jesus with a chance to pad the lead. Each team with 7 hits. Both starting pitchers have gone the distance. Rogers, hands on his hips out there, just takes a deep breath, exhales. He knows he may not be around much longer. Dick Williams, the right-hander and a left-hander, throwing in the Montreal bullpen. Now we see some patches of blue overhead. And here's Ivan De Jesus, looking for his first hit of the day. He's looked at strike three, grounded to third, lined out hard to right. Right-handed hitter, and he swings. It's a high, little soft fly ball. It's going to be caught. Under it is the left fielder, Cromartie, and that retires the side. A threat, but no runs. 2 hits, 2 left. End of 7 at Wrigley Field. Cubs still lead the Montreal Expos 2-1.
My car engine knocked so bad it sounds like a riveting gun.
Every time I accelerated, the pinging infuriated me.
Even 2 knots didn't help.
I'm a standard dealer, and they're talking about the knocking or pinging sound a car's engine sometimes makes when accelerating or pulling a heavy load. Some car owners actually want to retard the spark to keep the engine from knocking. What that does is waste gasoline. We'll get the car back in tune, and Amico Premium Lead-Free is made to stop engine knock. If your car's in tune but still knocks or keeps running after you turn off the key, it doesn't need engine work. It needs higher octane fuel, like Amico Premium Lead-Free and the Gold Pump. If it doesn't have performance problems, use the Midwest best-selling lead-free Amico and the Blue Pump.
Hey, that Amico Premium Lead-Free works like a charm.
No more knock.
1 full tank made all the difference.
See your independent standard dealer for the lead-free choice. You expect more from a leader.
Joe Wallace, who, as I told you, had been warming up down the left field line near the Cub bullpen, has come into the ball game now as Herman Franks makes the defensive shift. Tarzan goes into play center field, and Greg Gross shifts over to left. Dave Kingman is out of the lineup. And let's pause a moment here before the Montreal Expos come to bat in the 8th for station identification. This is the WGN Chicago Cubs Baseball Network.
And this is WGN Radio Chicago.
Vince Lloyd and Lou Boudreau here with you at Wrigley Field in a nail-biter. Ed Archambault, our engineer this afternoon, and Jack Minovich, our producer. Glad to have you with us in the audience. They're going out to talk to Burris as Ray just finishes his warm-up tosses, and he faces the heart of this batting order for Montreal. The center fielder, Andre Dawson, Gary Carter, Tony Perez. Dawson hit into a double play in the first inning. In the third, with Rogers on the bases and 2 out, Dawson hit one that looked like it was going into the outfield, but DeJesus at shortstop cut it off, backhanded the ball. Dawson was limited to an infield single, and it prevented Rogers from being able to score what would have been the tying run. And as it developed, after Carter walked, Perez flied out to retire the side, and they left the bases jammed without a run. Big swing and a miss for strike one. Battle of Southpaws scheduled here tomorrow. Woody Fryman, who in his career pitched for Montreal before going to Cincinnati. He'll be working against his old teammates tomorrow. And Rudy May, veteran left-hander out of the American League, scheduled to go for the Montreal Expos. There's the ball to Dawson, a right-handed hitter. And a good hitter. Ball one, strike one. Here's the wind-up, the pitch. Swing and a miss, and a ball that was breaking down on the way. 1-2. Sox played 2 innings at Detroit this afternoon, and then the rains came down, and after a lengthy delay, they had to postpone the ball game. Burr steps back, the wind-up, the pitch, and Dawson swings and misses. He chased one that broke away sharply from him at the last moment. And that is strikeout number 5 today by Ray. Al Carter lined one over Kingman's head. Dave had trouble judging the ball. It was ruled a double, and it drove in the first run of the afternoon, and so far the only one for the visitors from Canada. Carter walked in the third, opened up the 6th inning, flying out to left. The first pitch swung on, and a high pop-up. DeJesus coming over. Artaveras is calling for the ball. He steps into foul territory, and he grabs it for the out. 2 gone, bases empty in the 8th inning. Here's Tony Perez, who's grounded out to Artaveras, flied out to Mercer, and popped up to Trio. It has become a little bit on the chilly side. Oh, boy, that Kansas City ball club hot. Amos Otis. There's a swing and a drive. He's out in front of it and rips one down the left field line. Ruled a fair ball by third base umpire Doug Harvey, and Tony Perez goes galloping into second base with a double. Tying run in scoring position. Tried to get some umpiring from some of the guys down in the bullpen, didn't we? They were ruling it foul. It's only third base umpire Doug Harvey's judgment that counts. Amos Otis. The homer in the first inning with the bases loaded for Kansas City. A grand slam homer for Amos Otis. And Kansas City, winners of 7 in a row, have a 4-0 lead up in Canada. Herman Franks has come out. He's pointing down to the bullpen with 2 gone here in the 8th inning. Montreal Expos have just gotten the double off Ray Burris, their 8th hit of the day against him, and Suter is being brought in from the bullpen. The score, the Cubs 2, the Montreal Expos 1. Very appreciative crowd here today, standing up for Ray as he crosses the third base foul line on his way into the Cub dugout, and he doffs his cap, acknowledging that tribute. Behind him is Herman Franks. On the hill, Suter, while he warms up, we have a delay in the action. Let's take time out for this message. Been a full week since Bruce Sutter was last in a ball game for the Cubs. That was against the Mets last Tuesday. Cubs won it 4-2. Worked one inning. And the first pitch of the ball, too low, to Larry Parrish, who singled in the sixth inning. He has an 8-game hitting streak. Tying run at second, 2 gone. A big swing and a miss, and that ball popped out of Raiders' mitt. Bearded third baseman for the Expos took such a vicious cut. And his batting helmet went flying off his head. Ball 1, strike 1. Sutter gave up a couple of hits and a run and a wild pitch in that ball game against the Mets. He did not finish it. Hernandez came on. 1-1 pitch. Swung on. Ground ball. DeHace is coming in. He's got it. Here's the peg to Bittner. The side is retired. Parrish grounds out to the shortstop. No runs, 1 hit. 1 man left on. That was a tying run that they left stranded. And the Cubs come to bat. It'll be Gross, Bittner, and Mercer. After 7.5 innings of play, it's still the Cubs 2, the Expos 1.
General Finance, friendly Bob Adams.
Hi, Bob. It's Kathy Roller.
Oh, hi, Kathy. Still entering those advertising contests?
Just listen to my latest entry.
Okay.
Why are Ajax doorknobs best? Because they're better than the others.
How many have you won, Kathy?
None altogether, and I have to pay for so much postage I can't pay all my bills.
Ooh, you need a consolidation loan.
My bills are piled so very high, they almost reach onto the ceiling.
Well, we can turn them all into one easy monthly payment.
Oh, joy and wonder is
Kathy,
my...
next entry, try to make things rhyme.
Oh, there's a thought.
Well?
Oh, like this? When you call Bob, he's very friendly to help you out. He'll over backward Bentley.
That's better.
Thanks, Bob.
You can always get a little help from a friend at General Finance.
There are 70 General Finance Chicago area offices. Call General Finance's friendly Bob Adams to borrow up to $10,000. Call Andover 3-2020. Also an office in Bolingbrook.
We had a little sprinkle of rain here for a moment, then the sun came out. Now the sun has disappeared. A couple of folks still holding some umbrellas up down there. Dick Williams making a change for Montreal. He has Jerry White playing in right field, and Dale Unser has come in to play first base, so Tony Perez is out of there. Greg Rose stepping in to lead off the bottom of the 8th inning for the Cubs against Steve Rogers. Rose doubled in the 3rd inning. The other 2 trips up today, he has been thrown out by Rogers. Looks at the first pitch, a ball. Missing outside, ball 1. Dawson way over into left center field for him. Trying him to swing late. And they give him the right field line. There's a fastball away for a strike. Ball 1, strike 1 on Greg. Cubs with 7 hits, the Expos with 8. Comes over the top of that one. It sinks too low. Ball 2, strike 1. Carter wasted no time getting the ball back to his pitcher. Two-one delivery. Swung on. And he fouls it out of play to the left side. Sox rained out in Detroit today. All the other National League action is slated to take place tonight. Mets, who beat the Cardinals last night 6-2, go at it again against the Birds this evening. There's one that he swings on, and he pops it up. Rogers really came in with a beauty, changed speeds on a little breaking ball. Greg pops it up to the shortstop to open up the 8th inning. That'll bring up Larry Bittner. Hit one right in the nose his last time, but right into the glove of the then right fielder, Dale Unser. Larry today, 0 for 3. Rounded out twice. Cubs with a 2-1 lead over the Montreal Expos in this their first meeting. This ball club this year. They'll be here again tomorrow and the following day. Curve by Rogers is low for ball 1. Bobby Mercer due up next. Bright sunshine right now. Shadows at the plate and down the third base line caused by the upper deck. Right-hander delivers. There's a swing at a high bouncing ball of the pitcher's mound. Davy Cash charging in. He's got it. Throws quickly, and he's got him. Well, he didn't seem to be at all upset about that play at all, did he, Lou?
No, not at all. And that once again, Cash can do the job at second base. He makes all the plays, and he makes them look easy.
Well, the second baseman would get a little bit excited about that one. If it's topped like that, figure they really got to charge in and hurry up on it. Seemed to be taking his time, had it measured all the way. Bill Mercer steps in, singled and scored in the second inning. Is 1 for 3 today and looks at a strike. Struck out in the third, lined out in the sixth. Rogers delivers. There's a swing and a ground ball left side. It's a base hit. Past the shortstop. Chris Spire out to left field. And with 2 gone in the 8th, the Cubs have a man on. And stepping in for the first time this afternoon will be Joe Wallace. Came in at the top of the inning to play center field. Stars 1 for 7 at the plate this year. 0 for 4 is a left-hander. Steve Oliveras has started today without a base hit as a left-hander. But he singled his first time up. Let's see if Tars can get a base hit. They move the right fielder, Jerry White, farther over towards center field. He swings and hits one right off the leg of the pitcher. Comes over to Cash Barron, pick up the throw. He is out at first base. Great play by Davy Cash, the second baseman, to rub out the Cubs in the 8th. No runs, 1 hit. A man left on, and we're going into the 9th inning. Bruce Sutter out to the mound. Montreal Expos will lead off with Dale Unser, Chris Spire, and then we'll look for a pinch hitter. The score remains the Cubs 2 and the Expos 1.
Now, True Value Hardware stores offer a tool that adjusts easily to new situations. Their April tool value of the month is a Fuller 8-inch adjustable wrench for just $1.99. It adjusts easily to a capacity of 1 inch to grip many different sizes, nuts, bolts, and when you're making auto appliance or small plumbing repairs. This thin design, professionally quality wrench fits easily into small areas. It's made of drop forge, heat-treated steel for strength and durability. And the lower jaw can be replaced for years of extra use. So go to your True Value Hardware stores and get the tool that adjusts easily to new situations. The Fuller 8-inch adjustable wrench is just $1.99 as the April tool value of the month, while supplies last at participating True Value Hardware stores.
True Value Hardware is more than just a name. It's a way of doing business that means True Value.
Anders swings and misses at Sutter's first pitch. Bruce came in the 8th. The tying run at second, 2 gone. Got Larry Parrish to retire the side, and there's a swing and a foul. Back to the backstop. Strike 2 on Unser. Against Burris, Unser struck out twice, grounded out to the shortstop, De Jesus. Chris Spire in the on-deck circle. He may be lifted for a pinch hitter. There's a swing and a ground ball. Trio in until he's right. It comes up and bounces off Trio's chest. And the Montreal Expos have the tying run on base. And the 0-2 pitch, he went after that ball. It was dipping down sharply. And Trio is charged with an error. Let's hope it won't be costly. Williams had come out of the dugout there to talk to his pinch hitter. Going to bat for Chris Spire, Wayne Garrett. Garrett, last year, started on the bench. Parrish off to a good start. Then when Parrish slumped, Garrett came in there, and they wound up kind of alternating. Left-handed hitter. He swings, pulls the first pitch foul over near the Montreal dugout. Garrett, so far, been about only 9 times with 1 base hit. Got him a couple of years ago from the Mets. Let him swing on the first one, and this one put the bat out there as though he were going to sacrifice, and he took the fastball high. Ball 1, strike 1. Top of the 9th. Nobody out. Tying run at first base. Sutter in relief into the stretch, delivers. Garrett swings And he fouls that one down the left field line out of play. 1-2 on him. Willie Hernandez, who's been in 5 of the Cubs' first 9 games, is throwing in the bullpen along with right-hander Donnie Moore. Suter gets the sign. Bruce is ready to pitch. There it swings and a drive into left field. Over there for it is Gross, and he makes the catch, slips, but the runner has to get back to first base. Gross reacting quickly on that one, and that outfield grass turf is a bit on the soft side. Ellis Valentine, who has been out of the action because of a strained right knee, is going to be sent in now as a right-handed pinch hitter against Suter. Valentine, 7 hits in his first 20 trips to the plate this year, and one of them a homer, batting .350. Second year, the Expos, and a good ball player. Takes one that misses for ball 1. And a new ball thrown out to Suter. Right now is standing in the sunshine. 1 away. Double play would be very welcome. He looks at a strike, a fastball above the knees. 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. And after that one that seemed to be just about ankle high. Ball 1, strike 2. Suter is out in front of him. Trying for a save here. And trying to hold on to the victory for Burris. 1-2 pitch. Swung on. He jammed him with that one. He bounces it foul on the third base side. Paid attendance here today at Wrigley Field, 2,010. And a total in the house of 2,193. 2,010 paid. 1 away in the top of the ninth, 2-1 Cubs. Montreal with their run in the first, the Cubs with their 2 in the second. The pitch. That's low. Rocked nicely by Rader. Ball 2, strike 2. Bittner, of course, holding Unser on at first base because that is the tying run. Needless to say, Valentine, the big right-hander in the batter's box, represents the go-ahead run. Suter is ready. 2-2 pitch. Swung out and missed. Strike 3. Patented Suter pitch. That one just seemed to explode right in front of the plate. So the Cubs are 1 out away from capturing a victory over the Montreal Expos. Warren Cromartie, double to left and a double to right. A walk for the day. The Cubs have retired him only once, and that was when he flied out to center field, steps into the batter's box, the last hope for the Expos. Suter's pitch, the left-hander, a swing and a miss. And a healthy cut at that one. Mercer, deep for him in right field, but Joe Wallace is over in left center for him. He takes strike, a fastball. Suter walks up the mound onto the grass part, blows in the fingers of the right hand, rubs up the ball a little bit, now climbs back up in the hill to get his sign. He is out in front of Cromartie, 0-2 with 2 gone to the ninth. The pitch. A little bit low, and he wouldn't go after it. Ball 1, strike 2. Each team with 8 hits. The Cubs nursing a 2-1 lead with 2 gone to the top of the ninth. Here's the delivery. Swung on, and he got a piece of that one. Still alive. Rolled it foul. Over to the on-deck man, where Davy Cash is standing. Marty does not offer much of a vertical strike zone there. He's a little guy. Bends the knees, bends from the waist, cuts down that strike zone considerably. Now the stretch in the 1-2 pitch. Swung out, he hits one down to Bittner. He's got it. Ball game should be over. It is. The Cubs win. Ground ball to the Cubs first baseman. Wraps it up. No runs, no hits in there. 1 man left on the bases. And the Cubs defeat the Montreal Expos at Wrigley Field today 2-1.
You know, one of the most exciting plays in baseball is the hit and run, and it may look easy, but the game within a game involving runners, batter, pitcher, and catcher is an intricate exercise and teamwork, requiring perfect timing to bring it off successfully. And you know that's a pretty good description of the way they brew Heileman's old-style beer. The great light taste is no accident. It's the result of brewing experts working together to select only choice, ripe grains picked at the peak of flavor. Then these same experts insist on brewing with sparkling, pure Wisconsin spring water. Water that flows from deep beneath the ground, and some folks say all the way from Canada. They use this water to pure brew, double brew old style, the slow, old world way, in a process called krausening. And when you brew a beer once, you've got a good beer. But when you brew a beer twice, then you've got a great light beer. And Heileman's Old Style is one American premium beer that is still fully krausened, naturally carbonated in the old world way. So try Old Style, pure brewed in God's country.
Happy totals. The Cubs 2 runs, 8 hits, 1 error, 6 left. The Expos 1 run, 8 hits, no errors. 9 left. Ray Burris. Another strong pitching performance. What a great start he's having. He's now 2-0. And he could well have had a shutout here today. Steve Rogers, the losing pitcher, 1-2. Save number 2 for Bruce Sitter, 2 hours and 12 minutes. The back room, that's still a great defensive play there by DeJesus back in the third inning, huh?
Well, definitely defense. There was 2 important items, in my opinion, that why the Cubs won this ball game. Defense, DeJesus' play that saved the run with Rogers on second base, and he went into the hole to grab that infield hit by Dawson. Had it gone through, that run would have scored. Another great defensive play was by Bobby Mercer in right field on Parrish. That looked like a double all the way, but Mercer's quick fielding held Parrish on first. And for Montreal, it was just too bad to get base hits with 2 outs. They never got an inning really started. That was the story of the ball game for the Cubs, getting the first 2 men out in the inning, and then a single by Parrish happened in the 6th inning. That we mentioned that Mercer's great defensive play. In the 7th inning, Cromartie doubled after 2 were out. In the 8th inning, Perez doubled after 2 were out. And if you want to go back to the 5th inning, on Cash's double with Cromartie on first base, when he overran third base, he was tagged out, Kingman making the throw to Ontiveros. So actually, it was a tough day for Montreal getting those doubles with 2 outs and getting men on. Whereas the Cubs, in scoring their 2 runs, got singles from Mercer, Kingman, Ontiveros, and then a single by Rader, the big hit to score the second and winning run.
And the Cubs are winner, 2-1. Same 2 clubs go at it here tomorrow, and we'll be back with a word about that one. Our broadcast today from Wrigley Field, brought to us by your Chicagoland Gallant Men of Olds, a place to test drive the new Olds Cutlass for 1978. General Finance's 70 Chicagoland offices to borrow up to $10,000. Just call friendly Bob Adams at Andover 3-2020. True Value Hardware Store is not just a name, it's a way of doing business. The G. Heilman Brewing Company of La Crosse, Wisconsin, makers of Old Style, the pure brewed beer from God's country, and the Association of Chicagoland McDonald's Restaurants. Why don't you have breakfast tomorrow? And then plan to come on out here to Wrigley Field tomorrow and watch these 2 ball clubs go at it again. Certainly can't be a closer ball game than we had here today. Slated to pitch for the Cubs tomorrow, Woody Fryman, veteran left-hander, who's going to be making his 3rd start of this young season. So far, Woody is not a pitcher of record. He's 0-0. And against him, Rudy May, veteran newcomer, left-hander, to the Montreal staff. Vince Lloyd and Lou Boudreau. And we hope you enjoyed the broadcast today. Cubs a winner by a score of 2-1. This is the WGN Chicago Cubs Baseball Network.
And this is WGN Radio Chicago.